We get to visit a brand new Federation holiday destination with some very first reveals of a Star Trek established race and links back to episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. All of that coming up. Well, hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Well, today we're talking about Lower Decks Season 5, Episode 3, entitled The Best Exotic Nanite Hotel. This title, of course, being a bit of a play on the feature film The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel with Judi Dench and Bill Nye and Maggie Smith and a cast of other actors. Bit of a play on that same sort of title with a bit of a spin, which sees our crew of the Cerritos headed to the Cosmic Duchess, which is kind of like a cruise ship, resort, theme park, water park, all kind of rolled into one big, massive starbase that is another holiday destination option apart from just Risa, where we see a bit of a dual mission taking place. We've got a nanite infestation in the hotel, which has to be solved by Tendi, Mariner, Tillin, and Rutherford, along with Jennifer, the Andorian character who had a little bit of a thing with Mariner in an earlier season, and Boimler, who takes on a little bit of a covert mission with Billups and Ransom. And the episode kind of divides into these two A and B kind of stories for this episode. Tendy's happy to be back. Boimler's still growing his beard, trying to compete with his alternate universe version self of him from episode 1. And Jennifer the Andorian is still under the impression, as far as Mariner would believe, that they're still going out. It seems like quite a diverse vacation destination, this Cosmic Duchess. We've got so many different environments on this one massive starbase, all in kind of their own sort of biodomes, from locations that kind of look like a bit like a Tuscan Italy, to Risa-like beachside vacation spots, to mountains for a bit of skiing. Not to mention water parks and theme parks all as well. An element of tension is introduced into this episode early on, where we see Jet has been severely injured on an away mission with Ransom, where he's in fact lost both of his hands. And he says it's Ransom's fault, and Ransom just takes junior officers away on away missions, gets them to do all of the dangerous work, and remains safe himself, which Boimler is a bit nervous about. Mariner and the rest of her team is obviously in charge of eradicating this nanite infestation, which Rutherford creatively nicknames the Glumpus. But most of the storyline for this element of the episode is pretty much wrapped up in this Mariner and Jennifer having to break up with each other, because there's an impression that Jennifer still thinks they're together. Mariner didn't really break up effectively last time, and it's sort of all kind of revolving around her doing the breakup routine. Boimler's away on his covert mission with Billups and Ransom, and we get to see for the first time some Gallimites. These were referenced on DS9, I believe, where Dax made some reference to a particular Starfleet officer who was Gallimite, who had a transparent skull. And we kind of get to see what they look like. They're sort of somewhat vicious-looking aliens. And we also get a look at the Cretaceans, who was that race that we saw in Star Trek Enterprise, where I think it was Archer's Beagle Porthos like peed on some prize plant of some kind and terribly offended them, and pretty much they were the race that was just offended by everything. It was sort of fun to see these guys again, because I remember that episode of Enterprise quite well. A couple of interesting references in this episode in the form of Gallimites and the Cretaceans or whatever. From Enterprise. I felt I didn't really connect with the nanite storyline. I think just one sort of big growing blob that sort of ended up into a giant sort of rolling Indiana Jones style boulder that sort of rolled through the town and everything. I kind of found it a bit of an anomalous geometric shape, not all that interesting a storyline, and obviously wrapping that up with the will they break up, or how is Mariner going to break up with Jennifer, and the fact that she kind of already knew they were broken up, but she was kind of just messing with her for the whole time. I kind of felt like that whole storyline was a bit redundant, because she knew the entire time what the status between the two of them was. She just wanted Mariner to admit that she didn't do a very good job of breaking up last time. So the rolling, geometric nanite shape, along with that storyline with Mariner and Jennifer, I didn't really think it was, you know, the most fantastic story thread in this episode. It sort of felt a little bit too disconnected. The storyline with Boimler, obviously Billups and Ransom, going from environment to environment, down the ski mountain, chasing a Denobulan. Boimler skis off the cliff, but then tips her off to the fact that they're after this admiral. We have them sort of floating down a lazy river in the water park side of the location there, but they end up getting captured and taken to where the admiral is. So there's sort of a little bit of a parallel to Apocalypse Now, I thought, this episode. Sort of, the admiral was a bit like Marlon Brando's character in Apocalypse Now, how he was just sort of hiding out in some village jungle somewhere and, you know, didn't want to be found anymore and so forth, had kind of gone AWOL. But then when we did find him, I kind of felt like there was going to be a bit of a reveal here, like it was going to be an admiral that we knew from past Star Trek episodes. So it was sort of this kind of shape in the, you know, this sort of nameless shape in the shadows, and I thought he was going to step out of the shadows and reveal himself to be somebody that we perhaps knew from past Star Trek. But he wasn't. He was just parodying Marlon Brando. He was just an admiral who didn't like the missions he'd been sent on. He was kind of sick of being sent on milk runs for like space whales or whatever, and he'd sort of gone off to hide in this resort station as a means of getting away from his duty. So it didn't really, that sort of side of the story, things didn't, I thought, have a massively strong payoff. I think we got a little bit of character development in the sense that Ransom admitted and gave compliments to Boimler that he has a great work ethic, he's a reliable officer, he's always well prepared, and that was the reason he was brought along, not as some sort of coal mine canary, as Boimler described himself. So I think that was a good bit of development in the sense that we now see that our senior officers on the Cerritos do actually have respect for some of the lower deckers now, and they're rising up the ranks, you know, and getting a bit of a good reputation. They're not just nameless crew members working in the bowels of the ship anymore. The whole Glompus storyline with them going inside it and everything, and then trying to play music to disrupt the signal, till then playing these vibe tubes or whatever they were. I found it difficult just to connect with this as an antagonist within this story. It was the problem to be solved. It was sort of a bit too abstract or something. They end up capturing the admiral. The Glompus is dispersed. Jennifer and Mariner make up and go their separate ways. And we find that there's a tiny little Intrepid class ship that was caught in the Glompus for the whole time in a smaller scale dimension. I wasn't sure whether this was part of the stuff which we'd established in episode 1, where they'd come through from another dimension, but they were of a smaller scale, and they got trapped somehow in this amongst all the other bits and pieces that were getting trapped inside the Glompus as well. But at least the Admiral got to go off and help get them home, which at least gives him a better mission to achieve rather than just milking space whales. And Jet doesn't want any more missions with Ransom because he's just got his new arms back. It was an okay episode, but not a brilliant episode. I thought both the kind of A and the B stories kind of both felt like B stories to me. It felt like there wasn't an A story. It was just two B stories. Neither one of them was, the standout. But at least I guess we got the resolution to the Jennifer character, and a few little bits and pieces like the reveal of Gallimites and a reappearance of those Cretacean race that we'd seen previously from Enterprise, which I thought was kind of fun. But what did you guys think? Leave a thought in the comments section and we'll get chatting about that. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics yet, please be sure to do so. Click on that big subscribe button to stay current and up to date with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. Really helps the channel out. Please click away on that subscribe button. And also check out my merch store. Plenty of cool t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, caps, stickers, you name it. Plenty of cool stuff there to check out. I'm always putting new designs in every now and then, so be sure to, if you've been there a little while ago, check it out again because there might be some new designs you haven't seen before. I'll be back. See you with the next video. See you guys soon.